Illiterate Manga Club.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Illiterate Manga Club. It's your boy, Shojo Nick. Translator's note, Shojo means girl. But yeah, today I wanted to talk about a brand new manga that only has 3 chapters so far. It recently debuted in Shonen Jump, and it is Shojo Null. The story is being done by Kanai Nakanishi, and the art is being done by Akima, and this one's, interesting. It's definitely a manga that sort of took me by surprise. It's one of those kinds of things where midway through reading it, I thought I had it all sort of figured out. And then it kind of just whacked me upside the head and totally just like became something different. So yeah, Shojo Null takes place in the 23rd century in Tokyo, where the use of humanoid automatons called Gijin has become commonplace. These Gijin are used to fulfill a lot of the more sort of menial tasks in society, like working at a cash register, fast food places, making deliveries. And the Gijin are treated like they are very expendable. If you've kind of overstayed your usefulness, you are just thrown away. One night, a truck carrying a shipment of Gijin crashes and explodes, leaving only one survivor, Fuji 93106. This Gijin is discovered by our protagonist Ryaha, and throughout this first chapter we learn a lot more about Ryaha, Fuji, as well as the Gijin themselves. And so we learn the truth about the Gijin, which is the fact that they are in fact sentient beings. Like, they're not actually humans, they are robots. But they have this sort of chip implanted into their brains that basically just turns them into these automatons. And in order to stop the truth from getting out, the government gets involved and sends a bunch of dudes with fucking assault rifles to kill everybody, including the protagonist's father. And at this point in the chapter, it's about halfway through. So I'm thinking like, alright, this seems like a pretty cool, sort of realistic, like, dark, futuristic sci-fi kind of story. And so it's gonna be a story about a protagonist and Fuji, who gets renamed to Marie. You know, just trying to make it in this fricked up world. And I think at this point in the story, I was kind of feeling like I had sort of figured Marie out, because the thing about robot characters is that it's really hard to make a unique robot character, because they kind of almost have to go down this one particular character arc. You know, kind of like Aegis in Persona 3. Like, almost every sort of robot android character goes through the character arc where they learn that they are actually human, that they do have emotions, or that they are people too. You know, that's kind of what a lot of, like, basically robot fiction is sort of centered around. And so the two of them spend some time out in the park, just experiencing different stuff, like she plays with some flowers and a cat and a beetle. So at this point, I'm thinking, alright, it's a neat concept, but I think this, like, I can already kind of see the direction this is going in, right? Marie is gonna be your sort of typical, like, robot character that learns how to be more human. So I was like, alright, you know, seems fine, maybe not all that original, but, you know, I'll stick with it. And then the Kami Kids show up. The Kami Kids are, I mean, I'll just read their introduction to you. It says, "We're the YouTubers who are serious about bringing you the dumbest content on the internet. Finally, a group of characters to appeal to the TikTok generation." So as it turns out, the Kami Kids are like filming a vlog, or they were doing a stream actually, yeah, they're streaming it, trying to find Marie. I think I forgot to mention this, but there's like a search going on to try to find Marie, but yeah, the Kami Kids roll up, they got a streaming drone, they had the fucking chat pulled up. Hey yo, speaking of YouTubers, don't forget to like the video and subscribe and leave a comment. Hey yo, for today's video, tell me who your favorite robot character is. Doesn't have to be from a manga, just from anything. Maybe I should like actually do that, but unironically on one of these videos, just have sort of like a topic of the video, or just like a random question. I may actually do that. Damn, the Kami Kids have taught me so much about YouTube. So the fucking Kami Kids take the two back to their house. And as it turns out, the main Kami Kid is actually the son of the guy who killed, like, the protagonist's dad. So the Kami Kids sit him down and start showing him, like, Gijin torture videos? like I'm saying, this fucking manga took a turn somewhere, right? Of them heating up an iron ball to 1,000 degrees Celsius and just, like, placing it on the fucking Gijin's face? And one of them whips out a chainsaw for no particular reason. But then the Kami Kids notice that Marie is holding on to, like, scraps of the other Gijin that were, like, in the truck with her. And so they freak out and they're like, oh, you're gross, you're crazy, why do you have that shit? And so Marie uses, like, some ability of hers to hack into the maid Gijin that worked at their house. who then takes the chainsaw and starts carving one of them up. And so the main commie kid uses Marie as a shield to try and block the chainsaw, and she ends up cutting up the little chip in her brain that's like her fucking slavery chip. And so now that she no longer has any, like, moral inhibitions, she goes and carves up the commie kids. And then it just turns into this, like, fucking snuff film where Marie just goes around, like, this shit is, like, actually gruesome, fucking chopping up the commie kids with the chainsaw and using these sort of, like, tendril, like, metal whip things to tie them all up. And then there's this fucking moment where Marie asks Ryaha if it's okay to kill them. And he starts having flashbacks to all the horrible shit the fucking commie kids have done, like all the torturing of the random Gijin and the fact that his dad killed, like Ryaha's dad. And he fucking goes, "It's your choice." And she kills them all. And I had to take a second. I was like, what is this? I was like, it reminds me a lot of Elfen Lied. I don't know how many of y'all remember that one, but yeah, I was getting Elfen Lied flashbacks. Like, man, I remember back in the 2000s. This is like a whole extra tangent I'm going on, but that was sort of the, like, edgy gore fest, like, man, I shouldn't be watching this, like, kind of anime of choice back in the day. So at this point, the manga has done a complete 180 on what I was expecting it to be, right? Like, this manga has sort of thrown away every convention that I thought it was establishing. You know, rather than our protagonist Ryaha trying to sort of instill this value into Marie that, you know, you shouldn't kill people, like, regardless of if they're Gijin or if they're people or whatever. Like, that kind of stuff is wrong. And then he just goes, yeah, you can kill them, that's fine. Marie, I guess, isn't actually going to follow the sort of typical archetype. Like, she definitely does have a lot of those traits about kind of like the, like, curiosity about the world and wanting to have new experiences and stuff, but she also, like, gruesomely murders people with no remorse. And the first chapter ends with the two of them talking, and Marie says, "There's still one thing I want to do more than anything else, and that's to create a world where Gijin can live normal lives." And so Ryaha asks, is there even a way to do that? And she goes, I could kill every human besides you. And instead of being like, no, that's not the way, Ryaha, like, he's got sweat on his face, so he's obviously a little nervous about it, but he just goes, I mean, well, if you think you could do that. And she fucking goes, oh, I know I can. And yeah, like, so the next two chapters follow something sort of similar where they end up going to this play that involves Gijin, like, getting murdered. And she obviously snaps and starts, like, doing her little Gijin mind hack thing to kind of set them all free. And they go around fucking destroying the stage and fucking murderizing the guy that was organizing it. So yeah, this shit is bonkers. Like, it's one of those kinds of manga where I kind of have to take a step back and almost wonder what the authors, like, what their intention is on it. If this is meant to be played, like, entirely seriously, it's just, like, that's just their sort of view of how a sort of realistic, like, more dark kind of sci-fi story would go. You know, throw away any inhibitions about, yeah, the Gijin and people, we can learn to live together, and instead it just says, no, fuck that, actually. Or if this is meant to be almost more of a sort of tongue-in-cheek, like, excessively violent, almost kind of just for the sake of it sort of thing. Because it's so over the top and excessive, it's kind of like a splatter flick, right? When I was reading the fucking commie kids get murdered, I didn't know if I was supposed to laugh or be horrified. Because on one hand, like, what's actually happening here, there's nothing funny about it at all. These kids are getting murdered. But on the other hand, it's just so excessive and so kind of like tonally all over the place. It kind of makes me question, you know, what's the scheme here? Is this like meant to be sort of a deeper commentary on the existence of robots and the idea that people and, like, AI essentially could never actually get along? Is this meant to be almost more of a sort of popcorn manga where it's more about the entertainment than anything? And I'm all for it. At this point, I think I'm hooked, because this is just such a weird sort of, like, standout manga in Shonen Jump at the moment. I don't know if this thing is gonna last all that long, because it's so kind of over the top and so weird. I guess you can consider me a fan. You know, we're obviously pretty early into this thing. There's only 3 chapters, but I really want to see where it goes from here, right? I don't know if this thing is gonna sort of like change its tone and become less insane over time, or if it's just gonna get more and more nutso from here. But either way, I think this shit is awesome. I think this is definitely something I'm gonna look forward to reading whenever there's a new chapter out. This kind of goes hard, I cannot lie. But yeah, check out Shojo Null if you're interested. This one is a little bit of a doozy. It's some quality reading material though, I'll say that much. But yeah, thank you for joining me on today's Illiterate Manga Club. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me who your favorite robot character is. I'll see you guys next time.